Hi everyone, it's Christopher, Mono County Library Director and co-host of the Oxygen Starved podcast. It's Book Talk Fridays. I've got two great library books for you to check out, one new and one old. And my pick for the new this week is Hollywood, the Oral History compiled by Janine Bassinger and Sam Wasson. We have it as an ebook. We also have a print copy coming. It just came out in November. In 1969, the American Film Institute began an ongoing series that would become the Harold Lloyd Master Seminars, conversations between the current and retired Hollywood professionals and AFI conservatory students. They in effect became an oral history of Hollywood over time, from the very beginnings of movie making by the people who lived it, its evolution and upheavals across the 20th century to modern day digital filmmaking. Starting with the silent era, each chapter in this book is just snippets of different filmmakers associated with that category commenting on the topic or discussing specific films or techniques. The authors occasionally add context, but for the most part, they let the professionals' words stand on their own. It's fascinating because the snippets are a mix of major players like Katharine Hepburn or Steven Spielberg, to the camera people, the back office editors, the script girls, the art directors, all those we've never heard of or whose names scroll by while we're walking out at the end of a movie. And while they sometimes get technical, the authors pick enough snippets for around movies we'd recognize to make something the average reader can get sucked into. The result is a collective voice that, for all the different roles and visions and techniques amongst them, reflects a true passion for the art and magic of storytelling through film, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, or in the back office sewing costumes, or the front office dreaming up publicity for the newest box office smash. You can hear me talk more about this book in the next episode of the Oxygen Starved podcast, but I'll leave you with this interesting piece of trivia. For a brief period during the silent movie era, it was fashionable for leading ladies to enter the film set to musical accompaniment. They literally walked into work with their own personal theme song. Because sound didn't matter in silent movies, two or more might be filming at the same time in the same room, just staying out of each other's camera shots. So in one memorable instance, the leading lady from a movie heard the entrance music of her rival coming to work across the room and decided her music needed to be louder and livelier. It got to the point where a full marching band was brought in for one of their entrances, a situation so ludicrous that everyone finally agreed that the whole idea of actresses arriving on set to music was silly, and the practice died off. Now, my pick for the old this week is a deeper dive into the Hollywood system written by an insider who experienced it. You'll Never Eat Lunch in This Town Again by Julia Phillips. Came out in 1991 to a whole lot of attention because Phillips, one of the first female executives in Hollywood who produced hits like Taxi Driver, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and The Sting, for which she was the first woman to win a producing Oscar, promised in this memoir to name names and pull no punches of her time in the movie business. And boy, does she ever. She chronicles her seemingly meteoric rise in Hollywood in the 70s to the drug abuse that led her to her equally meteoric fall during the 80s, after which she was left almost penniless, which is one reason she wrote this book. Eminently unputdownable, there is a mix of humor and shock and awe that ensured this book was a major bestseller, but true to its title, it put the final dagger in Phillips' Hollywood career, destroying most of her relationships. But she was defiant to the end, insisting that what she wrote was no worse than how she was treated by the Hollywood system, a system that in the 70s and 80s was still very much a boys' club that didn't fully embrace women in influential executive roles. Phillips died of cancer about 2 decades ago. It should be noted she is included in Hollywood, the Oral History. This is You'll Never Eat Lunch in This Town Again by Julia Phillips. This is Hollywood, the Oral History by Janine Bassinger and Sam Wasson. Both great books available at Mono County Libraries. Come in and grab one of these or another great book to read. In the meantime, stay safe and happy reading.